My group, we talked about this semester and did research on the effectiveness of the influenza vaccine. We studied about how the flu vaccine has controversial topics and how the beliefs that adults have about it are skewed. And so we decided that we wanted to gather information about the opinions about the influenza vaccine and its reliability and their confidence in the vaccine. And so within the study, we chose two separate groups, under age of 30 and above the age of 30. And we found that there was a great difference in the knowledge and confidence between the two of them. And so we sent out 300 surveys, and there were 30 individuals who responded. And within that, with the 30 people, 20 were female and 10 were male. 21 of the respondents were under the age of 30, and 9 of them were above the age of 30. And of course, all of them were enrolled in college level courses. The results that we found, 20 of our 30 respondents believed that the cost of a flu vaccine was not a contributing factor in whether or not an individual received the vaccine. 53% of participants believed that less than 25% of adults were diagnosed with influenza after being vaccinated. One respondent believed that over 50% of adults were diagnosed with the flu after receiving the vaccination. 43% of participants who are under 30 believe that an individual contracted the flu from receiving the flu vaccine, while 57% did not believe that to be the case. And then on the other side of that, 67% of participants who are over the age of 30 believe that an individual contracted the flu from receiving the flu vaccine, while 33 did not believe that to be the case. So in that, you see that there is less amount of the under 30 who believe that they could contract flu from the vaccination, and compared to the older group who thinks that you can. 66% of participants believe that less than 50% of adults received the vaccine. And 40% of respondents believe that the average adult was somewhat unlikely, to receive the vaccine, compared to the 33% that believed adults would be somewhat likely to receive the vaccine. So they more thought that they were unlikely to receive it based on this season's response to the vaccination. And then the knowledge of the flu vaccine, the flu symptoms, you can see that in the second graph on this poster. Not one of our participants were able to correctly choose the correct symptoms, but most of them got several symptoms correct. Our methods, like I said, the survey of the participants was done about the knowledge of the effectiveness, through opinion-based questions. The survey had 16 questions, and they were sent out to 300 randomized BYU Idaho emails, and 30 responses came back. So those were recorded and analyzed. And then there was a test done to determine the source of knowledge. And you also see that in the first chart over there, graph about the knowledge and where they gained that from. The research questions that we asked are BYUI students over 30 years old more likely to have the seasonal influenza vaccination than those younger than 30 years old? What is the rate of confidence of BYUI students in the efficacy of the seasonal influenza vaccine to prevent infection of influenza? And do BYUI students have a clear understanding of influenza symptoms and the risks of contracting seasonal influenza? And then we concluded that a difference in knowledge and opinions between the two age groups were present. There's a lack of knowledge about flu symptoms, and more education about influenza and the vaccine and its effectiveness should be necessary for all ages. And since this was a small sample, we think that a more extensive study should be done in order to make conclusions about adults' knowledge of the effectiveness of the flu vaccine. And that is the poster.